Welcome to One Thought at a Time with Ian Travers, where we get curious about what makes us tick. We're approaching the end of 2023 and we've been having a look in the editing suite at all the amazing interviews we've had this year, and we've pulled together a few of our favourites. Enjoy. So, the format then, we're going to have the conversation, and I'd like to start right up front with, so tell us, Sam, what are you doing now?
Everything. So I race cars, as you know.
Yeah.
I am also a singer-songwriter and musician, live music artist. I've had lots of tracks in the pop charts and bits and bobs like that. Performed kind of globally all over the world.
And then, of course, you did go into X Factor.
So I got asked to audition for the X Factor.
Yeah.
I got asked a few times. The same way I got asked for Britain's Got Talent to audition for that as well. And they do that. They have these scouts that ask people to audition. It doesn't necessarily mean you get like a leg up or anything, although I have heard that some people do. But I had to do all of the auditions.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 rounds of auditions before you get to the judges that you see on TV.
Yep.
My first TV audition, Gary Barlow took a disliking to me, which was fine. But that stayed throughout the whole show. And I believe that the X Factor is very pantomime. Everybody's got a part to play. He kind of verbally, in his judges' comments after every performance, kind of his job was to just verbally beat me up, you know. And he took a disliking to everything I did. And then one day, I remember when I was on the live shows, I did a performance that I watch back now, and I was like, I knocked that one out of the park. That was a good one, and I don't think I put a foot wrong. And so they all have a sheet of paper, they all have bits and bobs, and people say they're taking notes, but other people say it's a bit of a script. So he had this sheet of paper in front of him, and like they all do, and he turned the sheet of paper over, and he looked at me and he went, "You look like you had a good time up there," and that was it. And everybody on social media blew up. They were like, "What's that supposed to mean? Like, that's not a critique. That's not a judge's comment." If I'm honest, like, everybody said to me, "Oh, like, that was so harsh that he just didn't really say anything other than that." I was like, to be honest, I was quite grateful for the break of abuse. Like, I didn't get, that was crap.
That's interesting.
But yeah, so that was that. The weird thing was he was different backstage. It was nice as pie. I mean, goodness, there's amazing things about the X Factor. My experience of it essentially is that some of it was the best thing I've ever done. Some of it was literally hell on earth. So you get a Save Me song, which is the song that you sing before you go out against, it's like a battle against one of your peers. I got told the whole time, there was another kid who got given his guitar, and he was the guitar player, the musician. And I was supposed to be, I think, like their Ken doll that year. But I've been playing guitar since I was like 12, so I was like, no, I play guitar in all my gigs. This is what I do. I'm a musician. I'm here to showcase myself. I want to play guitar on stage like he does. And they wouldn't allow me to do it. I had a 6-hour argument with the music team, and they still said no. And then literally the day that I was supposed to go on stage, I'd been practicing this song in my bedroom. And they said, look, if you do it and you do it flawlessly in rehearsal, you will have no choice. You can do it. So I did it and nailed it, and I was like, sweet, like you done yourself proud there. You done all right there. And they let me do it. So I had a couple of live rehearsals, and you have these in-ears in, which are essentially earphones that have a click track, and the click track is to keep your guitar playing in time with the backing track.
Yep.
I had it throughout the rehearsals. Come Saturday night with 12 million people watching, the click track didn't start, but the backing track did. So my guitar playing was out of time with the backing track. And at the end, they said, well, we warned you not to play the guitar. That went against you. So I literally on stage, on TV, pulled them out my ears. And I was like, I had a click track for the rehearsals and somebody's turned it off. I was like, it's no wonder I'm out of time. And again, everything went crazy online. Everybody had something to say about it. And I went backstage and they were like, no, it was on and all this. I was like, I'm the one with the earphones in, like, it wasn't on. Yeah. I threw my headphones at the sound guy.
But your ability to bounce back and follow what you want is huge.
Yeah.
That's that. Just as we go past that, so I have to ask: at 14 years old, to receive that kind of news, tell us a bit about the impact on that. What I can't imagine, but what type of thing goes through your mind?
Remember when I came back with the diagnosis, I entered the kitchen and both my grandparents were waiting. Their souls were like this. And I was all smiles and very happy. And I told him, I have a brain tumor and I will need to have a brain surgery. Like, oh my God, you just come into the kitchen like you just won the lottery. Why? Do you even understand what that is? They said, yeah, that's why I'm happy. I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. For me, going through something that I was already fascinated by was a bliss, because I got aphasia, I got certain symptoms, and knowing what it means and getting through all those, feeling all those things myself was absolutely fascinating. And I took notes of everything that I was going through. I even have them nowadays. Somehow, I don't know, acceptance developed, like life is a gift and I am choosing. Happiness is a choice. I've realized that since early age. No, I want to be happy. I'm stubborn and life won't kick me. I will kick it. As I said, stubbornness, it's a great thing. And I just chose to be happy. My aunt kept on laughing. She said, oh my God, you could drown in let's just say garbage. You'd still be, at least I can see the sky.
Well, so somewhere along the journey, Let It Shine happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a wild.
So tell us a bit about what happened there.
So I was studying at university.
Yeah.
4 years. On my graduation day, little did I know, honestly, didn't have a clue. Gary Barlow popped out. Literally popped out of this hidden wall. And I tell people to this day, and they don't believe me. They go, you must have known. And the truth is, Ian, I really didn't know about it.
Well, I've seen the video on YouTube.
Yeah.
And your face.
I took out my...
I
took my own phone out. Yeah. Then I realised there was a whole BBC film crew, like filming my reaction. So it was an experience. Yeah.
And so, what was that experience like?
I mean, it was humbling. It was massively humbling. I'll be honest with you. I took a lot away from it.
Yeah.
I was young and I'd never performed on a stage that big before.
Yeah.
With those caliber of people.
Yeah.
The thing about the show, it was a feel-good show, so they always told us, we're never going to make you like feel or look unprofessional. Yeah. We're never going to say something and do something opposite.
Yeah.
Kind of like other platforms do.
Yeah.
So we're hiring you and we're putting you on TV as a professional.
Yes.
So I had a good feeling from that. I skipped a few audition steps because I was what they call a secret hit. So right. I featured on there. I didn't actually audition. Right. They found me online through my YouTube videos and everything like that, and then sort of scouted me and then somehow contacted my family, my mum. And my mum was like, "Oh yeah, you should come to his graduation and surprise him." And like my mum's the worst at keeping secrets as well. So for her to keep that secret, I really don't know how she did it. It was quite an experience. But yeah, I did the show. I was on the show for about, I think, 3 to 4 months.
Was that a pivotal point? Was it a...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it gave me a platform to express myself. But at the same time, it made me realise that the industry is also very fickle.
Yeah.
It will suck you in.
Yeah.
And at any time it wants, it can spit you back out. And that's sort of the time that I realised that I need to make the most of my time here.
Yeah.
And it was a big pivotal moment for me in my young sort of performing career, because I was like, you know what, I'm going to take every opportunity that comes my way.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go at it and attack it with 100%.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people get this opportunity, especially people from my background.
Yeah.
And at the time, what brown or Indian / Pakistani / mixed, singer or performer was out there? None.
Yeah.
So I in my head, I was like, I need to make the most of this.
Yeah.
And after the show, it was great. I mean, people recognised me, and I got loads of different opportunities. I ended up doing, Aladdin in Dubai and doing loads of really cool shows. And I did a tour after that as well.
Yeah.
So my life was really busy and non-stop. And but it did humble me, because I took it in my stride, and I said to myself, I want to take every opportunity that I can. I'm going to try and learn as much as I can in this short period of time, because you never know tomorrow that I might get spat back out again.
Yeah.
I really might. I'm still in that, I'm still doing it now to this day. So quite lucky
and busy doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I've got to go back to that word about fun again. I think it's, you clearly are having fun. I mean, that's not that every day's fun, right? Because, we, again, this thing, life has ups and downs and challenges and not, but it's so important, isn't it, to have fun. And I know, I'm sure people listening to this sometimes, we're hearing us talk about fun, we're thinking, you're not living in the real world, it's really hard out here. Yeah, but fun can just be that smile you have on your face when something comes on the radio or the podcast, or something that someone does makes you smile. Or it doesn't have to be big stuff, but we've got to find space, haven't we, for it?
Being like, when you're adults, you're just kind of like, oh, well, you're grown up, and you just you don't have time for fun. When you're a kid, that's all you want to do, because that's all you know. And we forget that. We forget to be kids. And that's why I loved being in all my school sport teams, because it was just fun, and there wasn't the pressure of, we don't, at the time, like for me, we don't want Simon on our team because she's brown, or we don't want Simon on our team because she's a girl. It was like, she's good at this, let's get her on our team. And that's all I knew at the time. So I was very lucky in that respect. So why shouldn't we have fun doing sports? Why shouldn't we have fun lifting weights and, and doing crazy challenges and stuff?
If you can click with your why, that actually becomes fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who doesn't laugh or smile running downhill? Or is that just me?
I think that's just you.
Well, it goes back to the learning, doesn't it, of the business of it all.
It does.
And just learning how to, you're growing in different ways, and how can I use the tools or use people to allow me to grow in the best way, to give me the best opportunities to then reach my goals.
And going back to what I said previously, with it being 98% business and 2% actually driving, you that for that 2% of driving that you do, you need to be really good. You need to be really good in that 2%, and to get really good in that 2% takes time and a lot of money. I mean, the art of motorsport really, and again, you'll know this, it's about winning with the least amount of time in the car prior to that race. Yeah. So you need to be able to jump in the car and be quick. Within 3 laps. I have a sim, and that was a huge part of my development as a driver. But the sim wouldn't have worked if I didn't have the initial experience to visually, and when I drive, I can feel what the car is doing. So I can not only see it, but I can feel it. And that really helps the mindset side of it as well.
You don't get that movement, do you? You don't get that feeling on
your bum. But when you understand, when you've done enough time in the car, you know what the car does at that corner. So you can see what the car's doing on the screen, and then you can react to that as it sounds weird, but I mean, that's just how it works to me. Exactly. So when you go there, you believe it. You believe that you believe you're there. And if your mind believes it, you believe it. And therefore, when you go to the circuit, you're like, boom, on it straight away.
Of course. And you've been to those circuits before, right? And you've raced, so you well, most of the time, but when you do kind of, it's in your body, isn't it? You know what it feels like.
You know what it feels like. But the weirdest one, and this was really strange, was I hadn't raced Silverstone National, and
ever.
I hadn't driven Silverstone National, right? And we had our tyre test there last year. So I did some colossal number of hours on the sim around Silverstone National. Long and short of it, I drove down the pit lane in real life at Silverstone, and I kid you not, I promise you, and I'm not making this up, I thought I was in my living room. It was weird.
Wow, so you must have done it a lot of times.
Yeah, I was like, cool, right, yeah. And I was like, no, hang on a second, focus. You're actually in a race car now.
I love that.
There's this kind of, where the business stops and the sport starts. It's
a very blurry line.
Yeah.
Especially because sport, no matter what it is, motorsport, cricket, hockey, football, whatever, it's emotive. And that's where you start to lose logic.
Yeah.
So purely from my professional perspective, and there's probably lots of professions actually that are like this, and you're the right person to tell me actually, logic seems to have taken over. This is not a theory that I have thought up. There's a much better marketer than I that has this thesis, and I would recommend anyone to go and find him. But logic rules the world. Should we do this? Well, the logical conclusion is if we spend more money on advertising space in this place, then yes. But humans aren't logical, and sport is a huge advert just to prove that even in this day and age of AI and reason and, you know, maths and columns and Excel spreadsheets that show working out and how things should go, sport will always define the fact that human beings aren't logical. You know, I will cheer for Wasps Rugby Club today, even though I know Wasps doesn't exist anymore as a rugby club because they've gone bust because of poor commercial decisions. But that's illogical. How the logic would dictate that the club that I supported no longer exists.
Yeah.
So surely I'll just go and find another one. But I don't.
Yeah.
When people go, who do you support? I go, Wasps. And they go, but they don't exist.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, I know, but I do. That's illogical.
Yeah.
And that's where the lines get blurry, you see.
So at the minute, if someone is sort of interested in what you're trying to achieve, who would you like to hear from?
Well, it could be someone. I'll be honest. It's gonna sound weird. I probably do now. I still idolize Jeremy Clarkson, as far away as that is. But just because I think when he told a story about, when he was driving a 928, and he told a story about how it was the only car that could sit, that was be comfortable at 150 miles an hour before his dad passed away. And that story really moved me. It really did. And I remember I just sat there and I was like, bloody hell, a car can do that.
Yeah.
And it's things like that you wouldn't think, no one thinks that's going to happen. But when it does, and you think about just instances like that, I was like, man. And so just someone I think who's probably done this whole journalism thing or trying to do, just in terms of from an experience standpoint. But I think anybody that's just into cars, really, because we all are joined by this love for cars, essentially. That's kind of what makes... This way you can go to a car event by yourself and you can make about 100 friends talking about cars.
Yeah. How did the documentary come about? Because that was great to be featured in it. How did that even happen?
It was a mix of doors just opening at the right time. So we had someone from the BBC, Stephen Mizelis. He reached out to me and Lewis, and he was like, we like your story. Right. What can we do to help you, basically? Yeah. So at the time I was 17 years old, so I just had my driving license for the road, and I couldn't race the Praga because I sat in the Praga the year before. I did like an experience day at Silverstone, and it was like, how are we going to make this happen? And that's when the BBC reached out to us. So it was basically the bulk of the program was getting my race license to be able to race the car.
Right.
So we had to have 6 signatures, which was completing 6 races, marshalling, doing all different stuff just to get a race license. And that's sort of how it came about.
And what's happened since that? That must have helped in your career now. Anyway, what was the benefits from doing that documentary?
A lot of exposure. Did breakfast shows, BBC Morning, radio shows. But also just from sponsors, it made my name heard. Yeah. And that helped fund me for this year. We've had Toxic Waste come on board, Speed Sense, Storm Watches, Redefined via VIP. We've had quite a few sponsors, which I'm very grateful for. But it's always an uphill battle trying to find the budget to race, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to having the talent to be able to drive, but that means nothing if you can't afford it.
And of course, if anyone is interested in reaching out to you after seeing this podcast, you'd be more than welcome for them to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we were talking about this, weren't we, a little earlier as well, and we share a common interest there. I mean, although I've not gone down that route, I find it just fascinating, and we are continuing to find new stuff out all the time, aren't we?
Yeah, studying the brain is almost a bit similar to studying space, because it's observing patterns, and almost this sensation of we're looking at it from a distance. Except the jarring thing about the brain is it's like the brain studying the brain, Space is an unknown, but the brain is even more of an unknown.
What would you say to them if you're doing nothing else? Go try this tomorrow.
If you're doing nothing else, I would go to try and eat a new fruit or vegetable that you haven't eaten before. So then that's focusing on adding more variety into your diet. It's looking at opening up your consciousness and your mind about what other food is out there. You know, go to learn how to prepare a new vegetable-based dish. So you know that if you're having that once or twice a week, then you're getting more nutrients into your body. Yeah, have a look at doing that, and then also have a look at, you know, eating smaller portion sizes and being more conscious of the food that you're putting into your body. You know, I've always referred back to motorsport with this one. You know, if you've got your supercar, you're not going to put diesel in it when it needs petrol. Right. So you only get one body for your lifetime. So you want to be able to make sure that you can look after it. And, you know, with the body as well, it's an amazing piece of equipment. But it will run out over time if it's not looked after. If you look after it properly, you can have a really good, healthy, good quality of life and longevity up into your 80s, 90s, and even hundreds. You know, there are some areas of the world where that's possible. And it's through diet, lifestyle choices, mindset, things like that. So it's trying to have a look at your conscious choices you're making around your food, adding more variety, and being also mindful of your environment in terms of how you feel and being more mindful when you're eating.
Okay, last question.
Go on.
If we could conquer time travel.
Right.
Let's make that assumption, so we can. You get to write yourself a letter, a note, which you can leave for the younger Sam to find. What would you write to yourself in that note, knowing what you know now?
Slow down. I think I've always been, my dad's always said as well, I'm a man in a hurry. Like, I've always wanted to do stuff and do it now and get that done. And I still am guilty of it. Although I know I should slow down, I still try and do everything all at once at 100 mile an hour. And I think life doesn't need to be that stressful.
Knowing what you know now, what do you think you might write?
What's for you won't pass you.
Oh, again.
What's for you won't pass you. Oh, I love it. In every aspect of life. I think, yeah, it's for me, it's a very powerful thing. And I do think, like, when things don't go your way, you pick yourself back up. Something will be for you. And I think if you take that mentality going forward in life, I think it will help you get by. If you could write yourself a note 18 months ago, what would it be?
So I've done a year and a half of professional racing at this point. In my shoes, I would say, don't be Wally, change teams.
So make a change.
Make a change.
Yeah.
That's actually a thing that I say to myself now. If something's not right, make a change.
Same.
And it's just having the confidence to do that and actually believe in yourself. Make the change and racing, business, whatever. Make the change.
What do you think you would write on that letter to your younger self?
You're good. Keep on going.
Love it. That's great. Keep on going.
You're good. Keep on going. Just to let myself know that I'm on the good path.
Knowing what you know now, what do you think you'd write?
I think the main thing would be never giving up, because there's definitely been times where it's felt impossible to progress anywhere, but also keeping your eyes open to any opportunity that could come about, because it's things that you could never imagine would turn into something else that have sort of led to this point today. Definitely being open to any opportunities that come towards you, whether it seems insignificant or not, and fully exploring it.
Fantastic. Knowing what you know now, what would you say to yourself?
I would be honest and say it's going to get tough before it gets better. You're going to have hard times, but through those hard times you are going to grow and learn from all of those hardships and continue to be who you are, true to yourself. I think I would just reassure the younger Simon that you will still be who you are later down the line, but it's just going to take some struggles. But through those struggles, you're going to come out on top.
That's lovely. Yeah. What do you think you'd write in that now?
Oh, I would probably just, do you know what? I would probably write, if I'm being brutally honest, I'd probably write something that would annoy me, because I'm that kind of niggly little guy. I was like, what could I do? I could really annoy past you. That'd be a lol. My granddad used to say, just add time. If you add time to anything, everything gets better. So you might feel like crap now, but if you add a bit of time, you'll actually feel a bit better. That might be tomorrow or the next day. But I'd really try and force that point to a younger Stu. Like, just add a bit of time. Everything will be fine. Just don't, just try and relax a little bit, because mainly nothing you're going to do, no matter how much stressing or worrying you do about it, it won't make a massive difference. Yeah, that would be the one thing. Just don't sweat the small stuff.
Brilliant. I like that. What do you think you would write to the younger Jeremy?
I think it's the whole notion of go for it. I think there's so many times that I've had points in my life where I've said, you know what, I want to do this. I have it. I love to do it. But then a day later, I'm like, oh, forget it. It wasn't a good idea. It wasn't the best idea. Or someone said something to me that just kind of, made my idea worthless or whatever. And I think you just need to hold on to whatever passion you have, and whatever's driving you to do something, there's a reason behind it. So by the end of the time that you go for it, you might be able to find the reason behind it. You might be able to know why there was a reason. Oh, this is why I wanted to do this all along. But you're going to find that out full circle.
Fantastic. What do you think you would write to yourself, knowing what you know today?
Honestly, I think when I was younger, I had a strong perception that there were right and wrong decisions to be made. And that if I thought hard enough about any given decision, that I could arrive at the correct pathway, or I could somehow secure stability or control or predictability, etc. if I made the right decisions.
So kind of making a decision with no regrets kind of thing.
Because you have made that decision, then it's the right decision. Right. It's flipping the script from I should make this decision because it's right to because I've made this decision, it's right.
It's right. I like that.
Yeah.
So make the decision, and then once you've made that decision, that's the right decision for you.
Yeah.
Wow, what an amazing few clips. What a season it's been. I hope you enjoyed those. And one request from me, if I may. A large proportion of you who watch or listen to the podcast are not yet subscribers, and it really helps us put together great content if we understand our audience better. So if you would, just take the time to like and subscribe, and of course we always love hearing from you in the comments. Thanks very much.